Hello and welcome to Hot Money Technicals on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is a show which gives you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I'm Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our experts and technical analyst and mentor Fidai, along with Amit Shah of Indiabulls Ventures and Dyaneshwar Padwal of KIFS Securities join me on the show. Many thanks to all for joining me. Before we begin with the show with our analysts, let's bring in Yash Upadhyay, who has a chart on LNT. Good afternoon, Yash. LNT seems to be doing well in a market that's managed to move up. What's the trend looking like?
Absolutely, and the trend is on the positive side, Darshan, because this is the chart and how it looks like on the weekly time frame, and this is over the last 3-year period. The white line over here, that is the trend line that we've drawn over the 3-year period, joining the lows of the stock, and it came down to the mark of around 1280 or 1250, which was the low on the trend line as well, and it has taken support over there. Like you rightly mentioned, the last 2 days have been very positive because the stock has moved almost 3.5% in that period, with volumes too being fairly supportive, and the RSI in the lower panel, that has also given a positive divergence. So if you take a look at the RSI, around the mark of 40 is generally where it has its near-term bottom, and all the 3 bottoms on the trend line, they have been around that mark or slightly below that, and we are seeing that positive divergence come in as well, volumes being supportive, and the stock going up by 3.5%. Possibly a buy on dips kind of a strategy would work better on LNT, but clearly the momentum is on the side of the bulls.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Yash. NS, what's your sense on LNT? It's managed to move up today. The markets are stable. Do you think that the chart Yash pointed out that the trend will continue on the higher side? Is the bottom made?
Well, I think bottom is made, and we are talking on longer term time frame, right? As per Yash, it is weekly chart. So on weekly chart, yes, you should buy on dips, but right now I feel there is a possibly a dip coming in extreme short term. One can buy on dips around 1330, 1335, and keep a provision to buy even more around 1275. But at this moment, why I'm saying I'm not bullish at on a daily chart or means on intraday basis is because it is hitting the 50 DEMA and finding it difficult to cross that area. And if it crosses 1390, 1400, then maybe I would be looking at going long for a momentum play.
So as of now, that's the strategy. Stay away from it till the time it goes.
Or buy on dips
or buy if the momentum.
As Yash has said, I agree with him.
Okay.
Without that,
Amit,
on longer term, yes.
Amit, what's your sense? What's your strategy? Someone should follow an LNT?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with Yash. In fact, actually it is changing the trend from down to up in a shorter time frame. So it is making its first higher high and higher low has already been made now. So that's a positive sign. I would buy now, also utilize dip towards 1340, keep a stop loss of 1315. My target for LNT is 1460 on the upside.
Okay, 1460. So positive view coming in. Dyaneshwar, what's your sense on LNT?
Darshan, I agree with Amit and Yash, because recently we've seen that the LNT has made a bottom near about 1300, and it managed to give the positive direction towards the northern trajectory, and once the momentum start, price tends to remain in a motion more or less in the same direction. So I would be looking at the lower time frame, current market price, or dip till 1360 would be a great buying opportunity. Keep a stop loss of 1340 for an initial leg of up move towards the 1420.
Okay, so positive view, consensus positive view coming in on LNT. The markets are doing well, and LNT has actually been participating in the market move today. But let's start with the first chart of the day. We have on LIC Housing Finance by Fidai. Let's pull up the chart, if you can tell us why are you bullish on the counter, which is the parameter that you've selected?
Like we are using very basic parameter, but we are using a very long-term trend line. We are looking at a weekly chart. If you see this red dotted line, that is the area where LIC has always taken support.
Yeah.
It has not breached below that. If you see from so many years, and also see the RSI. Now RSI on weekly chart is almost in an oversold zone. When you consider this bottom and the current bottom, and if you look at, can we have the chart, please?
Have the
candles,
chart,
please. Yeah, when you look at that, this is the bottom that was made earlier, and we have a very minor small in that same area you can say double bottom. And when you look at this RSI level compared to this, we are a bit higher. It shows positive divergence on weekly chart also. Can we have a daily chart?
It's actually a mirror image of the
almost mirror image.
Yeah.
Now if you see on daily chart, it is making a very small triangle here. Okay. Now this triangle, if it is crossed on the upside, then we expect the price to go up to 440, 445. Okay, and it needs to cross 410, 415. If it does that, there is an instant, upside target possibly in extreme short term. So what I see is 410, 444, 440, sorry, is our target. We keep a tight stop loss below 383. Buy on dips if it comes to this area.
Which is?
Which is basically like, you can buy up to 387 and keep a stop loss of 1% only 383. So it's a low risk. But if it crosses 410, then you buy for momentum.
Okay.
For, instant target of 440.
Okay. But at this level, should someone buy, or would you wait only for a decline?
You can buy here. You can buy at this level. You can buy, keep a provision to add on dips up to, 387. And if it crosses, if it doesn't dip to 387, then there is another addition you can do above 411. So once it crosses 410, 411, you go for the next momentum play.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Dennis. Amit, what's your sense on LIC Housing Finance? NBFC, some of them have managed to move up.
Yeah, I mean, see, it has seen 9 weeks of consistent decline on the weekly charts, and it's weak. But at the same time, as Fidai pointed out, it's near some crucial support zones, So once I would prefer to buy this on some kind of strength, So once it crosses and maybe closes below 412, I think the upside retracement would come in. So I would actually look to buy on a closing basis above 412. That would actually propel the stock up towards levels of about 435 to 440 on the upside.
Okay, so similar strategy what he said in terms of momentum. Is that something that you would do? You would, Dyaneshwar, would you buy on declines? Would you play the momentum? What's the ideal strategy?
Darshan, here it is a very good stock to take a contradictory view because if you look at the higher time frame charts, mainly on monthly, so we have seen the head and shoulder formation has been done and neckline placed near 388 and we have seen that the back testing head and shoulder is almost surpassed 60% time. If head and shoulder failed over here, so risk reward ratio would be very favorable, because if you buy at the current market price, your stop loss should be 388, and if it is failed, so you may probably see the rally towards 500, 550. So it is a good risk reward ratio.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the first stock, and that is LIC Housing Finance. Next is Amit with his chart on Torrent Power this time around. Let's pull up the chart. Amit, what is the strategy that you're using? Explain this Fibonacci ratios that you've put out.
Sure. So, the stock has been in an uptrend, clearly in an uptrend. This phase that you see, there are aggressive bulls being active in this phase of the up move. And post that, what we have seen is this coincides with the overall correction in the market. But what we are seeing here is the stock taking a nice support around the crucial 50% Fibonacci ratio of its previous up move. Also, this coincides with the previous breakout. If we can switch it to the weekly time frame. Yeah, so as you can see, this red line marked here was a crucial resistance zone, which is now and a good support zone. The stock is actually taking good support here, and what we are seeing is several weeks of downtrend in terms of candlestick prices. So we are seeing highs being lower and lows also being lower. So this is like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, and after 9 weeks we have seen a low which is higher than the previous week and a high which is higher than the previous week. So there's also change in trend also in terms of weekly time frame. So everything is coinciding very well. So this augurs a good buy. I mean, it is at a good support zone. The risk also is quite limited here. So one should buy. The first target is 308, and the second target overall, which I believe could also well be achieved, is 330 on the upside.
Okay, so what's the strategy? Should you buy now or?
Yes. I mean, it's at a zone where, as I said, even from here, the downside risk is very limited. The stop loss is 264 on the downside.
264. Can we have the other chart that he had said, the first chart that can we?
Yeah.
It will come, but I just wanted more explanation. Yeah, can you explain these ratios that you've given?
Yeah, that's a simple Fibonacci ratio which I have counted from the lows of this particular move. So basically, it's nothing but a retracement on the in an uptrend. So these are zones where generally buying tends to come back, and we have seen the evidence of that. We are not preempting it, but we have seen the evidence of buying coming back, and then we are looking to enter. So basically, it's a good buy here.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Amit. NS, what's your sense on Torrent Power? Would you buy at these levels?
Well, I think my stock is also Torrent Power. So if you want, I can come and.
Okay, so we'll discuss at that time.
Yeah.
Dyaneshwar, what's your sense on?
Yeah, in Torrent Power, ultimately the stock has unfolded into the corrective pattern, and the first line of defense is placed near about 292. So I would wait to bulls to cross the 292 level. Then only we'll say the very good momentum into stock, and stock may head it towards the 350 level.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. NS, in the second round, we'll come to your chart. The last chart, at least on this round, is Petronet LNG, and that is by Dyaneshwar. I think Petronet over the past few days has been rallying significantly. If I'm not wrong, it's trading at a 52-week high. It's about to break its lifetime high, if I'm not sure. But yes, why are you bullish on the count?
Yeah, Darshan, if you look at the overall chart structure, so stock is trading in a clear uptrend, and after that we have seen that the stock was is unfolded into the corrective pattern, and after unfolding into the corrective pattern, we have seen the stock is facing a resistance of 260. So here it has faced a resistance here 3 times. We see the resistance facing near about 260, and after that we can see the bullish candle resistance has been broken down close well above, and it is managed to sustain above. So any dips comes towards the 260, 255. So that would be a great opportunity. Traders can keep a stop loss of 236 for an initial leg of up move towards the 310. And simultaneously, if you look at the RSI, can you just zoom in the RSI? If you look at the RSI, it is well trade above the bullish zone. So we have not find out that the RSI is managed to breaks below 40 and sustain above 40. So it is well placed above 40, and simultaneously you got the trend line breakout on the RSI, which eventually push the RSI towards the northern trajectory, which will help to underline to move on the northern trajectory.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. Thanks so much for that. NS, what's your view on Petronet LNG? Would you be a buyer at 266?
I would like to buy this stock on dips, or if it crosses today's high. Logically, like why I'm waiting for today's high is almost it's made a double top after crossing a flag. Now that could be turning out into a false breakout also, so we want to avoid that. So I would be bullish about 272 if it crosses that. But if it doesn't, then we would like to buy this around 254, 250 and keep a tight stop loss below 246. Overall, I like this stock on a longer term time frame, or when you look at the chart, it's showing a cup and handle breakout which has already been done, and the target could be 300 on the higher side. So first target would be 280 plus and then 300, but needs to cross 272.
Okay, and Amit, what's your sense on Petronet?
Yeah, I mean, Petronet is showing a great amount of relative strength compared to its peers. If you see GAIL, MGL, etc., all these stocks are much on the weaker side. And on the contrary, Petronet has been showing a great amount of strength. But, it's very near to its all-time highs of 275. So I would avoid buying here. I would look for dips towards, 250 to 255 kind of a zone on the downside. Keep a stop below, 240 and ride it. My sense is that it will attempt that 275 region, which is the previous all-time high, and possibly even break it. So the initial target would be 275 on the upside. Once it breaches 275 on the sustainable basis, then the next target should be 320 on the upside.
Okay, so bullish call coming in on Petronet LNG. Let's begin with the second round of charts, and NS has a chart on Torrent Power. We've had the views of the two of the other analysts who are positive on Torrent Power. Let's see what strategy you are giving, what kind of technical analysis tools that you've used, and why are you bullish?
Well, I'm using very similar tool, except in this case the trend line is not horizontal, it is a rising trend line. And if you see, most of the bottoms are on this trend line. And this is a line chart I have used. So line chart is basically nothing but it's a on closing basis. Like you are looking at prices on closing basis. And if you also observe one thing, from here the stock has continuously made a higher top, higher bottom, continuously, and that trend has been followed till date. Now, if you see, this is a beautiful, simple Dow theory thing, where it says you buy the next high and keep the nearest low as your stop loss. But this is a weekly chart, so I think we'll have a shorter term time view. We will see, daily chart. When you look at daily chart also, now there is a horizontal line here, which Amit had also pointed out. If you look at current price, the low price that it has made on the dip, now this dip is basically has not broken on closing basis any this tops. These tops were on the, you can say it was 270, where it had not closed beyond 270, and in this case it has not closed below 270. So, and after a very strong up move, the stock actually made a false breakout and trapped lots of people over there, and now it is falling in a very structured way. You can call this as a falling wedge. Now, falling wedges are usually, if you put a trend line from here, there is a small breakdown, but it reversed equally sharply. Now, that is the classic falling wedge pattern. And now it needs to cross beyond 290, 292. Once it does that, right now I would be bullish on buying at this level also, add on dips probably. But the moment it crosses 292, you can expect it to go all the way up to, you can say 310, 315 and 360 are my targets on the higher side. And we would like to buy on dips up to 270 because 270 is a very strong support which has not been breached, and it is a, you can say, mean reversion area, and the stock has maintained that mean reversion area in a proper, means even though there was so much volatility in markets, if you would see, this stock had actually moved up and then corrected in a very structured way. That is where it gives us a confidence to go long on this stock.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in.
And we'll keep a stop loss at 266, and we believe the final target should come within 3 months.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Enes. The other analysts have already given their view on Torrent Power when Amit came out with this chart. So we'll move on to the next chart, and that's on SRF. SRF is another stock which has managed to do extremely well for itself. Amit, what's your sense? Do you think new highs are coming in for the counter?
Yeah, I mean, see, basically, this was the all-time highs and just a small retracement near these levels, Post that, again, what we have seen is a very, very aggressive bullish candle with strong volumes happening here. These are indications, and that's happening at, lifetime highs, basically. So someone is, there's a good, strong bull power in the stock. Strong hands, I believe, has actually accumulated even the stock even at these levels. And post that, what we are seeing is a nice consolidation. It's not a single move and then post that we have seen a collapse or anything. What we are seeing here is a nice consolidation happening. Even on the shorter time frame, what we are seeing is a breakout above this zone of consolidation, which probably would be more visible in the next slide. So, first retracement after all-time highs, then a pullback, and again a retracement. Actually, it's a good entry point into the overall trend, which anyway is very strong, as you also pointed out, Darshan.
Okay, it's at 28.22. What's the ideal strategy?
Sure. So I would actually look to buy even at this zone. I'll keep a stop of 2680. My first target for SRF is 2970, but overall I think it's headed towards 3050 on the upside.
But buy at this level is...
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Amit. Dyaneshwar, what's your sense on SRF?
Yeah, Darshan, if you look at the overall chart structure, so first of all, stock is trading in a clear uptrend, and whenever the higher time frame chart suggests that it is moving in a clear uptrend, so any dips comes towards the support level, so that could be a great buying opportunity. Simultaneously, stock has done the same thing. It has corrected towards the 2500. After that, we have seen an impulsive move towards the 3000 mark, and after that it was unfolded into corrective pattern. And in today's trading session, we are getting a intermediate trend line breakout, so that would be a great buying opportunity. Keep a stop loss of 2750 for an initial leg of move towards the uncharted territory.
Okay, and what's your sense, Enes?
Well, I would say I would be bullish on longer term time frame rather than in extreme short term. Overall, it is very similar chart like we saw on Torrent. It is making continuously higher tops, higher bottoms on daily chart. And I believe this stock has a huge potential to go up, but right now it is in very sluggish way. It is rising, so I would prefer to buy on dips, and I would like to do it somewhere like 2600, 2550 would be my area where I would like to add this stock and keep a tight stop loss below 2500. That would be a nominal risk of 2%, but upside is very right now I don't see much happening, but if it crosses 2900, then maybe 3100 and 3300 are on the cards.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the counter SRF, and the last chart that we have is on ACC by Dyaneshwar. Let's pull up ACC and see what it's doing. Cement stocks obviously being consolidated, seeing a lot of consolidation. What's your sense? Why are you negative on the counter?
Yeah, Darshan, if you look at the stock, so it was unfolded into corrective pattern, and simultaneously from the making a lifetime high, after that the stock has unfolded into the impulsive negative rally, and after that you can see probably over here it has taken a long days to take a upward momentum, but it could not got the momentum and faced the first line of defense near about 61.8% of 78.6% of Fibonacci retracement, and after that stock is moving towards the southern trajectory, and the confirmation you are taking from the RSI. Can you just zoom in the RSI? Yeah, if you look at the total RSI movement, so recently we got the trend line breakdown, and stock, after getting a breakdown, stock RSI is managed to sustain below the trend line, and that's why we are giving a negative. We are negative on the ACC. So at the current market price, or rise towards the 1500, 1520. So that could be a great selling opportunity. Keep a stop loss of 1580 for an closing basis, and for an initial leg of down move towards the 1350.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Dyaneshwar. Ines, what's your sense on ACC? Would you be a seller?
I agree with Dyaneshwar, because the stock has seen very strong, breakdowns. It has given a breakdown from a head and shoulder pattern on, a few days back. Then it tried to reverse, could not cross 50 DEMA, again fell down below and made a near, lower low. And right now also the whole move from the lower low, lowest point, is being, resisted by 18 DEMA. And the whole set of candles that we see are very weak. So I would say stay away from the stock if you cannot short. But if people who would like to short, today's high could be a good area. Keep a tight stop loss above 1525 on a spot basis. And on the downside, you can expect the stock to go up to maybe if it breaks 1420, then you can even expect 1320.
What's your sense, Amit?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt stock had given a breakdown a few sessions earlier. But, Darshan, this is the phase of the market where we are expecting a sizable pullback rally, which could even take Nifty towards 11,300, 400. And I think a lot of stocks which may have broken down during this period may actually fail to achieve their downside potential. So I would, more than SEC, it's the view on the overall market. And hence bullish view on the market, and hence I would avoid a short sell here on the ACC.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on ACC, and Yash is back with a second chart, and it's on JSW Steel. Metal stocks have done well. A lot of positive news coming in from China in terms of the trade wars with the US. So what is happening with JSW Steel?
There's a buy call coming in, and like you rightly mentioned, positive news flow that has aided the stock price as well, because last 5 days the stock has managed to run up almost 8.5, 9% and again we are looking at the longer term chart for JSW Steel, and this is the weekly chart, and we are seeing that the stock is very close or has taken support towards the lower band of the falling wedge kind of formation that is there, and the RSI too has given a positive divergence. It had slipped below the mark of 30, indicating that it had seen an excessive amount of selling and had gone below the oversold mark. But then again it has rebounded again and has given this positive divergence, which is, by the way, for the first time in at least a 3.5 year period that it had slipped below the mark of 30. And like you rightly mentioned, the positive news flow has aided the stock price. From this lower band, it has not given a breakout above the falling wedge pattern, but still with the strength being there in the last 5 days movement, volumes too being supportive, we could see a move further higher from here. Close to around 250 is what one should look out for as far as JSW Steel is concerned.
Okay, then thanks so much for that, Yash. JSW Steel, would you be a buyer?
Absolutely, I would be buyer about 232, where it will catch more momentum, and the stock has all the potential to go up to 250, 253. And the Yash has already pointed out a very beautiful pattern, that is, long-term falling wedge. The stock has made a classic falling wedge and has a potential to go at least up to 250, 253. If it crosses 260, then you will see more momentum on the upside.
Okay, Amit, JSW Steel?
Yeah, completely agree. In fact, the overall view, in fact, last week I shared the view on both auto and the metals, that they could see good short covering and combination of short covering and value-based buying happening. So probably that is playing out for both sectors. Metals, yes, particularly JSW, 250, 255 is the minimum that I see, and the moves on the upside could be really aggressive as we see both the combination of short covering and value-based buying happening. And now, since there are triggers as well, it will propel the stock up quite sharply.
Okay, Dyaneshwar?
Yeah, Darshan, if you look at the chart structure, no doubt it is moving in a lower top, lower bottom formation. But at the bottom of 200, 210 level, if you see the volume, so we got the volume breakout, and very good buying has been observed on the level of 200 to 210, and stock is managed to move towards the northern trajectory, and momentum is already on the card. So I would I would suggest that the 230, 31 level would be an very first line of defense for the bulls. So anyone wants to buy on a dips towards the 225, 222, so that could be a great buying opportunity. Keep a stop loss of 210 for an initial leg of up move towards the 250, 260.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on JSW Steel. Metals as a pack has done well. And before we end, let's take a view on one stock that is pretty much the stock of the day, up 13%, and that's Yes Bank in trade. So Dyaneshwar, I'll start with you. What's your sense on Yes Bank? Should someone buy? It's up 13%.
Yeah, Darshan, if you look at the overall chart structure of Yes Bank, so I would like to elaborate on the top-down approach where, we have seen that the Bank Nifty earlier moving in a clear uptrend by making a higher top, higher bottom formation. And in the month of May 2019, it has posted a lifetime high 31,782. And after that, Bank Nifty is majorly consist of PSU Bank and public sector bank, where last 2 years we have seen that the mismatch trade setup between the PSU Bank and private bank. And if you look at the private bank sector, it has made a lifetime high followed by the Bank Nifty in the month of July 2019 around 17,762, and in that space Yes Bank was primarily, if you look at the 2018 scenario, it was an outperformer in the private sector bank by making a higher top, higher bottom formation. But in case of September 2018, after we have seen that a big drastic fall into Yes Bank, it has reversed the pattern of higher top, higher bottom formation into the lower top, lower bottom formation at the level of 285, and after that we have seen that the Yes Bank is clearly trading in a lower top, lower bottom formation. If you look at the lower time frame charts, mainly on weekly, it is indicating a clear downtrend, and the previous swing high is placed near about 108. So if Yes Bank is managed to take out that level, so then only we can go long on the Yes Bank. Otherwise, one should avoid these stocks.
Okay, Amit, what's your sense on Yes Bank?
Yeah, I mean, it's in a clear downtrend, very, very strong downtrend, I would say. But such strong downtrends could equally give you sharp upsides. You could see 30-40% kind of an upside, and still the stock can broadly remain in a downtrend. So I think that kind of a phase is playing out. I think on the upside, 80 is a kind of a sticky zone for Yes Bank. Once it manages to clear 80, I think it could see levels of about 92 to 95. But overall, this still remains in a downtrend. So one should be very nimble in exiting, because once this rally is done with, again, you'll see the resumption of the downtrend. So while it plays out, it could be very sharp on the upside.
Okay, and Ines, what's your sense?
Well, I am having a contrarian view. I would say, I agree partly with Amit, and I would like to buy the stock on dips up to 67 because it has given a trend breakout. The trend line has given a breakout, and the stock has given very strong momentum with very good volume today. So buy on dips up to 67.50, keep a stop loss at 66. And the stock has a potential to make go up to 80 and 84 on the upside. If it crosses 86, then you can even expect 92.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Yes Bank. But with that, it's a wrap on today's edition of Hot Money. Let me thank my guests who've come in today. Thank you so much, Ines, Amit, as well as Dyaneshwar coming in today. Ask BQ comes up next. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.